My wife kept a journal. I know that now. I didn't know it when she was alive. She kept it for 31 years, one entry at a time, in a series of small green notebooks she stored in the back of her bedside drawer. I found them 6 months after she died, when I finally got around to clearing out her side of the room. There were 14 notebooks. I counted them. 31 years of her thoughts, all the way back to the year after we got married. I want to tell you what I found in those notebooks. But first, I need you to understand something. I almost didn't read them. My name is Dennis. I'm 76 years old. My wife Evelyn died 3 years ago. Ovarian cancer, diagnosed late as it often is, which the doctors explained, and which I have spent considerable time being angry about. She was 69 when she died. We had been married 43 years. I pulled the notebooks out of the drawer, not knowing what they were. I thought they might be recipe journals or book notes. Evelyn was a reader, a collector of things, a woman who wrote lists and left notes and marked pages. When I opened the first one and saw the date, October 1992, and her handwriting, and the first line, "Dennis didn't hear me again today. I've decided to stop being hurt by it, and just accept that this is how we are." I closed it. I put all 14 books in a box, and set the box in the closet. They stayed there for 4 months. I want to be honest about those 4 months. I thought about the journals every day. I'd go to bed at night and think about them sitting in that closet. And I'd reason with myself. Evelyn is gone. Reading her private thoughts won't bring her back. If she'd wanted me to read them, she would have said something. Leave them alone. But underneath that reasoning was something I didn't want to name. Fear. Because that one line, "Dennis didn't hear me again today. I've decided to stop being hurt by it," told me that what was in those notebooks was not going to be comfortable. And comfort was what I was trying to preserve. My son Gregory came to visit from Portland about 4 months in. He knew about the journals because I told him, and he asked if I'd read them. I said no. He didn't push. He just sat with me at the kitchen table and said, "Dad, Mom wasn't a person who wrote things to hurt. Whatever's in there, she wrote it to understand herself, not to indict you." I don't think Gregory knew what was in those notebooks, but he knew his mother, and what he said helped me do something I'd been avoiding. I went to the closet and I took out the box. I read all 14 notebooks in 11 days. I'm going to tell you some of what I found. Not all of it. Some of it is Evelyn's alone, things so private they should stay private. But some of it I want to share, because I believe somebody watching this right now is the person I was in those journals. And I hope hearing it from the outside, from the page, might do for you what it could no longer do for Evelyn. In the early entries, 1992 and 1993, she wrote about the marriage with warmth. She wrote about things I had forgotten. A trip we'd taken to the coast that first autumn, a Sunday morning, where we'd stayed in bed until noon. She wrote about loving me in a way that made me ache, because that love was uncomplicated then, full, easy. By the mid-1990s, something had shifted. The entries were shorter, more observational, less emotional. She noted things. "Dennis left early again. I made dinner for the 2 of us and ate alone. He seems somewhere else even when he's here. I mentioned my mother's birthday party next month. He said and went back to his book." She wasn't angry. That's what destroyed me. She wasn't raging. She was documenting a gradual drift with the patience of someone who had decided to make peace with it, like a naturalist noting weather patterns. "This is how it is. I accept it." In 2001, there was an entry I read 3 times. She wrote, "I had a dream that Dennis asked me where I wanted to go before I die. In the dream, I had so many answers. I woke up and realized he will probably never ask. Not out of cruelty. He just doesn't think to ask those questions. I sometimes wonder what he thinks I'm made of, what he thinks I want. I think he thinks I'm content. I am not content. I am practiced at quietly not being content. Practiced at quietly not being content. I had to put the notebook down after that. I walked outside into the backyard and stood in the cold for a while. Because that sentence, she'd never said those words to me. She'd offered softer versions, hints, gentle redirections that I had taken and set aside. But she'd never said that. She'd written it instead. 30 years of writing it privately, so she didn't have to say it directly and cause conflict. And so I never knew. I would have told you, if you'd asked me 15 years ago that I had a good marriage, I would have believed it completely. Evelyn never left. We were kind to each other. We shared a bed and a table and a life. I had no evidence of unhappiness because she had learned to keep her unhappiness on the page. The last journals from the years of her illness were different. She wrote about me with more openness. She wrote that because she was dying. She had decided to stop managing my comfort at the expense of her own truth. There are entries from her hospital stay that are more intimate and more vulnerable than anything I'd known of her in 5 decades. As if proximity to the end finally gave her permission to be fully herself. She wrote, in what turned out to be one of her last entries, "I don't regret the life we had. I regret only that I spent so much of it editing myself for him. I wish I'd been braver. I think if I had been braver, he would have risen to it. I think I underestimated him. I underestimated him. She underestimated me. She was protecting me from her truths all those years. And I was so comfortable in my comfortable life that I never pushed through that protection to find out who she really was underneath it. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand something that took me 14 green notebooks and 3 years alone to understand. The people you love are full of things they haven't said, not because they don't want you to know, because they have learned, across the years, what you can receive and what you can't, and they protect you from the parts of themselves they've decided are too much for you. If the person beside you is quieter than they used to be, don't assume it's peace. Ask. Ask them the uncomfortable question. What haven't you told me? What do you carry alone that you've decided I wouldn't understand? What do you want before it's too late? Ask. And then make yourself a person who can receive whatever they say. Don't deflect. Don't explain. Don't turn it into a problem you need to solve. Just receive it. Evelyn did not need me to fix anything. She needed me to listen. She would have told me everything if she'd believed I could hold it. And I could have. I know I could have. She underestimated me. And I gave her every reason to. Go ask. Tonight. Not next week. Tonight. This channel is about sharing what life teaches you the hard way, so that maybe somebody else doesn't have to wait as long to hear it. If this reached you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Hit the like button. And leave me a comment. Tell me one thing you know you should say, or ask, that you've been putting off. Say it here first if you have to. There's also a form in the description if you have your own story worth telling. Your story might arrive exactly when someone needs it most.